Hey everybody, Ryan with the Brightest, and today is the release of our newest single, Saying Anything. Now this is our first release since 2013, and we are so thankful that you're here to do the listening party with us. Thank you for joining us. In order to make it a little more fun and a little more interactive, we wanted to let you get to know us a little bit. So we each answered a few questions, and we're just gonna chat through it. So here's the first one.
I first started playing guitar when I was 13 years old. I originally wanted to be a drummer. I inherited an old beat-up nylon string acoustic guitar, and at one point it had fallen, so the whole bottom was cracked, and somebody in my family had fixed it with basically Bondo. And it played terrible, it sounded terrible, but it got me hooked, and I've been playing guitar ever since, so coming up on 20 years now.
I picked up the bass when I was probably about 14, 15 years old. My friend Garrett's dad bought every instrument known to man, and we just spent so much time just playing and playing and playing until our fingers were blistered, till our voices were hoarse. Just learned everything, played everything, and that's probably where I first learned how to really have fun on the bass.
For guitar, I started playing on my 16th birthday. It's what I asked for, and my parents got me a Squire Strat, with a little practice amp. Started with just downstroke, everything punk. So that's what I knew. I didn't know how to strum. I had grown up playing the drums, started when I was 5, 6 years old on the drums. Been singing since I was even younger than that, and I'm 33 now, so it's been a ride. But I absolutely love playing guitar.
Singing has always been something that I've done or been interested in doing. I grew up in a really musical family, so it was always encouraged, and there was always music playing, and I sang in church choirs growing up, and I did theater in junior high, and in high school I was part of a touring choir, so it's never not been something I've been a part of.
So I started taking piano lessons in the first grade, and I took lessons consistently for most of my younger years. And then when I got to junior high, high school age, I got a really awesome teacher who kind of elevated my knowledge and ability to play and write. And that was a huge deal for me. And then I learned guitar in high school. My sophomore year of high school, I had an older brother who had played guitar, and he had a classical nylon string. He showed me my first couple chords, and then I had a poster from Walmart that hung on my bedroom wall, and then I gradually added new chords and play them to death and write and try and see what I could come up with.
My favorite Brightest show has to be the one we played with Hawthorne Heights and Forever Came Calling at Branks across from the Tazo Tea Factory. It was awesome to play with a band that was so influential on emo music in the mid to late 2000s. In a lot of ways, the Brightest probably wouldn't be as popular as it is without bands like Hawthorne Heights paving the way.
My favorite show has to be the Moving Mountains show at Hawthorne Theater. They are a phenomenal band. If you don't know them, go listen to them, go check them out. They're on our Spotify playlist. The lineup was excellent for that night. The crowd was great for that night. It was at the Hawthorne Theater, so it's always great sound, but playing with those dudes was absolutely an amazing show.
I don't remember who we played with, but it was at the Satyricon in Portland. It's not a huge venue. The stage is pretty small, but I remember being a really fun show and having my keyboard just kind of like perched on the corner of the stage and having a good time and having a lot of friends there. Good times.
There are 2 shows that stick out to me. The first one was when we opened for Moving Mountains in the middle of February, and we got to the venue and it's like 30 degrees and we could see our breath and it was freezing. It's too cold. I was like, okay, I'll stay for one song. And then I ended up staying for their whole set, because how do you walk out during Moving Mountains? And then the second show was my last show with the Brightest, which was April 2011, and we played at a cafe called Intermission, and it was like full of people. There were so many people that showed up, and there's a photo someone took of the crowd, and it's just a mass amount of people, and the energy was so cool, and yeah.
It was our first show at Backspace, which was a super cool venue in Portland. I was really excited. I was newer to the band and just learning the songs, coming up with parts that I thought fit the songs well. And just that group of people, and it was fresh and it was new, and it was like nothing I'd ever played before as far as being in a band. So yeah, that first show at Backspace just really was awesome for me.
My most embarrassing moment would probably be we were playing at a soda shop in downtown Vancouver, and I happened to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time on stage during a particularly vigorous guitar solo, and I got hit with a guitar. And I was like, do I keep going? Am I bleeding? But we finished the set and it was fine, and I can say that I forgive you, Danny.
So I signed up to play in Camas, Washington. It's called Tomfest. I was playing under the name Proclaiming Cadence at the time, and a buddy of mine was also playing guitar. It was just a duo. But we were in this field watching this like heavy, like hardcore band play. I can't remember the name of that band. They were crazy though. And they were smashing it. I went in the mosh pit, and it was like really hot on a Saturday afternoon, and I got overheated. It was a lot of fun, but I got overheated and I was dehydrated. So I played this little flatbed acoustic stage directly after that, and I was in such bad shape from just like being overexerted and overheated and dehydrated. We played this set. Oh my God, yeah. Set ended, played our final song, turned around with my guitar, puked off the back of the stage, and then I told my friend, I was like, can you go hand out, like I had burned CDs of like demos and acoustic songs and stuff. And I just like, I had to lay down. I could not do it any longer. So that was, yeah, puking off the stage was definitely my most embarrassing moment. Aside from like anytime my voice cracks or something, which is like the bane of my existence. That's always the worst, but yeah, I'd have to say vomiting.
My freshman year of high school, thinking I was all that, I went up to sing the national anthem, and about halfway through, my voice squeaked, and I just, and I immediately froze and just became beet red and jumped off the stage. Past falling off stages and falling on stage and going through puberty in front of my entire freshman class. Yeah, that's definitely the most embarrassing moment.
My most embarrassing moment on stage probably didn't actually come when I was playing, but setting up. I was the drummer in a band, and we played with a band called Living with Lions from Canada, which is one of my favorite bands. And I was so excited to play and show that, like, hey, I'm a musician, you know, I'm your peer. I was setting up and I fell into my drum set and broke a head. All of the cymbals went crashing, and of course they were right there. And I was 18 years old at the time, and so of course I was just overwhelmed with embarrassment.
My most embarrassing moment on stage actually happened when I was in another band prior to the Brightest, and Ryan was in another band, and both of those bands were playing a show out in Astoria, Oregon. We had been playing for about 30-45 minutes already, and this kid falls, and somebody stepped on his knee, and he injured himself. So we had to stop the whole show. You know, paramedics were called. The rational thing that most people would do is say, okay, I think we're done with our set, but we just pushed on and played for like another 30 to 45 minutes after that. I just remember feeling like, wow, that's kind of embarrassing that we were so focused that we didn't even take the time to let the next band go on, and this kid, you know, just got carried on a stretcher. So looking back on that is kind of embarrassing to behave that way, but you know, nowadays we can laugh about it and it's all good.
I'm excited for these songs for the same reason, for a lot of the same reasons I was excited to play with the Brightest 10 years ago, which is that these people are my friends. We were originally in different projects, just playing the same venues, playing the same shows on the same bills, and then Kaya and Ryan started writing together, and then they started bringing in other people. Being able to play with them and just being a fan of their music and then being able to write stuff together is honestly the coolest part. The other part of why I'm excited is that these songs are great and they sound awesome. Saying anything, when you hear saying anything, you kind of know, like, oh yeah, this is a good project to be part of. Like, it just sounds good, you know? So it's hard not to be excited about that when we're also having a good time.
We're putting out some music that never got finished or that we're writing new, and that's exciting to me because I love writing with these guys. I love the dynamic that we have as the Brightest, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see where 2020 takes us. Hopefully the people who were our fans back then are still our fans now. Would love to put some things that they can connect with and just have fun.
I'm super excited to be doing music with the Brightest again in 2020 because it's been almost 10 years since Ryan and I met at a show we were both playing, and we decided to get together and write some music for fun. And I think we realized we have crazy musical chemistry, which doesn't happen that often. So we went with it, and that turned into a band, which turned into a couple EPs. And all that stuff started with this song that we're releasing 10 years later, which is called Saying Anything. And we did a couple demos of that song in the beginning and we played it live, but we never really made it into what it should have been. It's cool to have that opportunity now and to get together with everybody and see that that chemistry is still there and finally release some stuff that has been sitting on a shelf.
Because I've really grown as an artist, as a writer since we first started playing music. You know, and it was just Kaya and I when we first started out. Right now we're throwing ideas back and forth for new songs, and to see kind of the evolution of all of us as musicians is pretty cool. It's cool to revisit those songs, and I've really enjoyed this whole process. And it's fun, and to share with you. So
10 years ago, we were filling in an emotional niche in music, which was so specific but had a small sphere of influence. And so now, 10 years later, we have more emotional maturity, we have more life experience, and we can bring that energy to these songs and make them even better now than they were then.
So we're only a couple minutes away from the premiere of our new song. Thank you all so much for joining us on this live stream again. So let's cut back to it.